Hey, happy Monday. This is Jack Tubbs from the J Team at Realty One and Surprise, Arizona, wishing you a fantastic Monday. Hope your holiday was filled with blessings, that you had a lot of time to spend with family, with friends, that you got everything that you asked Santa for, and that you had some time to be able to share all the great memories and great times that you had this weekend with your friends, family, and relatives. Okay, anyways, I want to continue on with some of the things I've been talking about as far as closing costs. And the thing we're going to focus on today are going to be the things that go in your escrow account. And what is an escrow account? For those of you who've never had a mortgage, escrow account is where part of the payment that you make gets deposited in a separate account, and then these go towards the payments if you haven't decided to pay them yourselves outside of your mortgage, but you wanted to have the mortgage company pay them for you and it be part of your payment, so that you didn't have to keep track of making sure that you set aside money for things like property taxes, for your homeowner's insurance, on all these things. These are the things that go in your escrow account that your lender will pay for you, but they're going to take part of the payment that you make and it's going to go towards these items. So this is going to increase what your monthly payment's going to be, but nonetheless, it's going to also help you not have to keep track of, oh, did I set aside enough this month to pay for my property taxes? Did I put enough aside to pay for my homeowner's insurance? And if, depending on where you are, especially in places like here in Arizona, where flooding can be an issue because the ground here does not absorb water like a lot of other areas in the United States. So when the waters rise, they come rushing by and they flood out properties quite often. So if you are in a flood plain, you've got to pay flood insurance. And this is another thing that gets set aside in your escrow account, held by your lender, and then they will pay your flood insurance for you. They will pay the property taxes out of that. They'll pay your homeowners out of that. So these are the things that go into what's called your escrow account. And of course, as I've already repeated, these are property taxes. And lenders can what they do when we have a closing, they can require 2 to 3 months to be held, and I've even seen some cases, depending on your credit, up to 6 months of property taxes held aside, already put in the escrow account prior to closing, so that they have money already to draw from to be able to pay property taxes as you move forward. And they will, they'll want to make sure that they're paid in full. The reason they're going to hold some out is they want to make sure that they're going to have enough for the first payment in the next 60 to 90 days. Then we also have property taxes. Insurance is always paid in advance. It's an annual premium, and this will be due at closing. So in other words, whatever it costs, if you want to pay it outside of close, that's fine. All you have to do is bring proof from your insurance company that you paid it, and give that to your lender so they know that the property is insured, because they're not only insuring you against any loss, but they're also insuring your lender against loss of any loss too, especially when it comes to the structure itself. If your house burns down and there's no insurance, and then you still owe your lender for the entire price of the house, or what was going to be your portion that you were going to borrow, and they have no coverage, they're going to say that's no bueno. So they want to make sure, and they're going to require, that you carry property insurance to make sure that it's their full replacement value of the structure. They're more worried about structure. They're not going to worry so much about contents, but the structure itself, so that it can be rebuilt back to the way it was when you purchased the house. So, and what they're going to do is they're going to want that paid in full, so that it's in the escrow account, so that once again, when the insurance company comes knocking at their door for the insurance premium, they already have it set aside in the escrow account. Flood insurance, we already talked about this. A lender is going to require flood insurance depending on what FEMA says about where you live. And FEMA determines that you are in a floodplain. They're going to say, hey, you know what? You're going to have to pay flood insurance of such and such amount, because FEMA says that you're in a floodplain that floods at least once a year, up to maybe 4 to 6 inches of water across the entire property that you live in. So, they're going to make sure that you carry flood insurance that would help make sure that any water damage that happens to your property can be paid for by the flood insurance. And flood insurance is fairly expensive. So it's one of the things that when you purchase property, especially out here in Arizona and some of the more outlying areas, there are a lot of areas that are still in floodplains. In other words, they haven't made any of the canals or ditches to make sure that water is directed away from your property or from the subdivision in which you live in, especially if you're buying just way out there in the middle of nowhere. You want to make sure that that your agent that your lender, that the title company all check and see if you're in a floodplain or not to find out whether you've got to carry flood insurance. And if you do, you want to find out how much it is before you close on that property, because flood insurance can be very, very expensive. But these are 3 items that always go into your escrow account. Now, sometimes you will have city taxes. City taxes also, sometimes your lender will require that those go into your escrow account. Now, if you live in a smaller town that they supply all the services such as garbage pickup, snow removal, all these other things that when you get out to a little bit more rural area, they don't supply for you. I mean, they don't do for you. Then you pay that a la carte outside of your property taxes. But in smaller cities, they usually, for the police, the garbage collection, collecting leaves when you rake them up in the fall. Rake them out of the curbside. They got a big machine that picks them up, and they turn them into mulch that you can go and pick up and all these other things. So, but you're going to pay a separate tax, property tax, besides the county property tax that you already pay. These also will go into your escrow account. If there's any other services or fees attached to your property, for whatever reason, they're going to make sure that this is put aside in your escrow account so that when it comes time to pay these taxes, these insurances, that they're there. So these are some of the closing costs that you have to consider when you are buying a piece of property, whether it be a home or just a piece of land itself. So that's all I've got for you today. I wanted to remind you to have a great Monday. I know it was probably a long holiday weekend for you, and I hope you enjoyed it immensely. We've got another one coming up because it's coming into the new year. But tomorrow I'll be back with a little bit more about closing costs and other fees that are connected with the closing. So you have a great day. This is Jack Tubbs from the J Team at Realty One in Surprise, Arizona, wishing you once again a happy Monday. If you have any questions, you can dial me direct at 248-330-7972, or you can email me, Jack, Jack, at the J Team, THE, the letter J, TEAM, .house, or you can call the office and talk to any of my team members at 623-252-4061. Hey, this is Jack Tubbs wishing you a happy Monday. I will see you tomorrow with more about closing costs. Bye-bye.